Hi, everybody. This is Kathy L. Murphy, the Pulpwood Queen, and I'm here tonight to discuss the film Swades, a 2004 film that was starred Shah Rukh Khan, who is why we started this Friends and Film Club, because we're watching all the films of Shah Rukh Khan. This is probably one of my most favorite go-to films of his because it's a simple story, but it's a big story. And for me, everything is all about the story. The wonderful thing about the Bollywood films starring Shah Rukh Khan is that they are so entertaining and each in such a different way. This is a different role for Shah Rukh Khan. He plays a very intelligent scientist who works for NASA. This film came out in 2004, and it stars a young woman who is lives in India, who is a school teacher and basically is running her parents' dream of educating the children of their village. And the reason that Shah Rukh Khan is in turmoil at the beginning of this film is he lost his parents when he was in college, and it was very traumatic for him. The woman who took care of him in his home back in India was like a mother to him. And when he finished college, he got so caught up in his work and working for NASA and everything, he kind of lost touch with everything back home in India. But something began weighing on his mind, especially when he found out he was going to be able to get his American citizenship. He started thinking about the woman who raised him and who was so kind and loving, and he didn't know what happened to her. He lost touch. So he went to his superior and to his boss and said, listen, I need to go back to India because I have some family matters to take care of. And that's where the story begins, because this man who's very successful working for NASA as a scientist and studying the world weather climate through satellites goes back to India and goes in search of the woman who raised him. And his first search is to find her, and he has understood that she's left the place where he knew her and had gone into like an assisted living in India. So him and a friend from India take off to go to this place, and when they get there, much to their surprise, is she's no longer there. Now, I don't want to give away any of the spoilers for this film, but it's about a man who leaves his own country and goes abroad to be educated, but he goes back. And he goes back because there's something more to the way I interpreted it. There's something about the place that you were raised. And me, now that I live in Texas, and even though it's not another country, it could kind of seems that way because I grew up in Kansas, which is right in the middle of the United States. I've lived in Texas now for over 30 years. Every once in a while, I get this calling to go back home to Eureka, Kansas, my hometown. And I could really relate to this film and the feeling of home, of the patriotism of living in a country, whether it's the United States or whether it's India or any other country, the place where you're raised, you're raised with a feeling of being patriotic to that country. And as he goes back and he becomes friends with the people in the village and he reunites with his childhood, the woman who took care of him. He finds a young woman who stars in this film. And the interesting thing about the actress who plays in this film is I have never seen her in another Bollywood film. She was a former Miss India, and I believe this was her first and last film. I often wondered what happened to her because she was perfect as the school teacher in this film. And while we watch the story unfold, and what's wonderful about the Bollywood films is they don't last an hour and 15, 20 minutes. They literally tell the full story and they last a lot longer. In fact, there's a lot of the films that have intermissions. But I was on the edge of my seat for this very quiet story about a man trying to find his place in the world, played by Shah Rukh Khan. And when he goes to the village, he sees a need for help for them with all the, education and things that he's learned in his job at NASA. He sees that he can help them perhaps get this village reliable electricity, because it always goes off at the most opportune times. Uh, my favorite scene in the film is when the whole village comes into the center of the village to watch at night a film that they put up a big screen, and it's an older film, and they're showing it outside, kind of like the way we used to go to the drive-in movie theaters, but it's just a homemade screen outside. And what's interesting about why I watch these films is I learn more about the cultures and the people and the religion, and how it's like in village life. It's a lot different than the Mumbai or some of the larger cities, Chennai, or the ones that we hear about that have, Mumbai is known for its Bollywood films, but these villages intrigue me because they go to watch the film, on the front side of the film, all the people of the higher class caste sit on one side, and the ones of the lower sit on the back side of the screen. They can still see the movie, all the children in the front with the elders in the back, but it's backwards. And what happens is the electricity goes off just as they're getting into the film. And oh, that is so frustrating if you've ever been in a movie theater. I have, where they've lost power and you don't get to see the rest of the film. But what happens is Shah Rukh Khan sees a need for them to stay so the electricity come back on. So he gets up in front of the crowd and he begins to sing and dance to the audience, and he gets everyone involved. In fact, the first thing he does is get the children, and they drop the screen, and he brings all the children together from both, all the casts, and he gets them involved in singing. And as the elders are watching him sing this song about the stars in the sky at night, and he shows them the constellation, what we learn is that we can learn from children. They're all getting along so marvelously, and they're having a wonderful time singing with Shah Rukh Khan, dancing with Shah Rukh Khan. And you can kind of see in the audience that people's eyes are really focused on what they see is happening, and minds are actually changing. So this film is about a lot of things. It's about home. It's about patriotism. Swades means we the people, and it's about this Indian man going back home and deciding to make a difference. In the meantime, there's a lot of other little side stories that play out, especially with the young woman who plays the school teacher, because Shah Rukh Khan has never found anyone to marry in the United States. And this young woman has never been married because she's devoted her life to her parents' mission to educate the children of the village. And this wonderful love story plays out. And I cannot watch this film without crying at the end, but not crying in the sense of sadness, but in the sense of seeing how both characters are struggling with trying to do the right thing and continue their work, but yet they're both in love with each other. So I hope everybody will get all their families together to watch this film that was done in 2004. And I think all of us, no matter where you're from in this world, can relate to this story, that we all want to make a difference in this world. And nothing excites me more than a film that encourages others to open their minds to different thoughts, different ways of looking at things, learning about other cultures, other people. It is all in English subtitles. I watched it I don't know if it was streaming on Netflix or Amazon, but I've watched it at least 10 times, and I probably will watch it again tonight, because it just one of those films that just makes me feel like I can take on the world and do anything if you work hard enough for something and you get all the people to work together. So be the change you want to see. Watch the Shah Rukh Khan film, and I hope all of you enjoy Swades. Remember, it's all about the story. Thank you for listening and watching, and this recording will be up on Facebook. Thank you. On the YouTube channel, on the YouTube channel, the Pulpwood Queens, please subscribe. And I have over 500 films of author events and book and film events. So there's something for everybody in the family to watch. Thank you for joining the Pulpwood Queen. And again, it's all about the story. Bye for now. Happy weekend.